Hey
Hi.
guys, welcome back to Rise.
I'm Sarah,
And I'm Evelyn.
and we are Rise. So today we're going to be talking about the. Sorry.
You totally ruined that. It's okay.
So today we're going to be talking about the mother wound and how this manifests, how it started in our childhood and how it manifests in our adult life.
Right. So some characteristics of how the feminine wound shows up in your everyday life could be seeing the feminine energy as weak, feeling unworthy of receiving love,
Struggling to set healthy boundaries. You might not feel comfortable speaking your truth, or you might feel like there's shame lodged inside there. I find the feminine wound has a lot of wounding around the throat chakra speaking, right? There's a big fear in that.
Also guilt from your past. Do you hold any guilt on things that you've done in the past, or maybe feeling a certain way? You can also be attached to other people and
Rather than finding love within yourself.
right? And then fear of having them leave you.
Yeah, and also be like being the mother in relationships.
Absolutely, that's a
Right?
big one.
Oh my god, like I used to do that all the time.
I think a lot of women wanting that. But you know what? It's interesting because a lot of people who have that mothering, it's like, oh, well, she's just trying to be nurturing. She's just trying to be nurturing.
Yeah.
But it's like, no.
No.
I think there's a difference between,
Between being nurturing and choosing your partner's furniture for their place.
yes,
Right?
and telling them how to do things and how to live their life.
How to live their life, trying to fix them. Like I
And trying
think
to take care of them, like, to the point where, because you feel that they can't take care of themselves,
right.
right?
It's still seeing them as a child, literally. That's what a mother does,
Right.
technically, right?
Yeah.
So I think, I think it's a big issue for women. With men, I feel like it would manifest more as like the mommy wound would be more chasing women for love, or running from the feminine energy, right? So keeping that boundary up. I think the masculine and feminine.
Well, not really a boundary, the wall up.
The wall.
Keeping a wall up.
Yeah.
And not trusting love, and not trusting that they are not worthy of love, therefore they will run from love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get the men's perspective, but I've been on the receiving end of that.
Right.
Where like the guy comes close and you can tell that they want love, they want connection, but then they pull away as soon as it gets too intense.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest lies is people that say that they don't want love.
Right.
Like
Everyone
who doesn't want love?
Love.
Everybody is looking for
Love.
love. So when
Love's
someone
the
comes and
best.
says that they're not looking for love, bullshit. Everyone deep down, you know, there's a difference between being scared of love, but let's not confuse being scared of love.
Yeah.
Is not
Speak
the
the
same.
truth,
Yeah.
okay? You want love, you're just scared of it.
Right.
Straight up.
Yeah.
So, let's get a little deeper here. Because I think people want more examples, like concrete examples, right? So we're going to give you some insight into our stories and how we've healed the mother wound, what that looked like in our past with our childhood. So did you want to go first? What do you...
Sure. I mean, like, for me, being raised I'm Hispanic, from Nicaragua, and our culture, as many Hispanics know, it's a very machismo, very, you downplay the feminine energy. The feminine energy is weak, and that's the culture I was raised in. And so for me, seeing the feminine energy, again, it's related to the mother wound because of how my relationship with the feminine energy as a woman,
Right, the divine feminine energy.
came out. So I was taught to suppress. You suppress your emotions, you suppress your feelings. There was no strength in showing your feelings. There was no strength in showing your vulnerability. That was all.
Yeah.
You had to hide that. You know?
And that's almost like what we were saying before, is that's almost like the masculine shield, like a wounded masculine shield, because we all have masculine and feminine energies. So if you're predominantly the feminine energy and you always have that masculine shield up, that's also a mother wound, right? That's a wound. That's your connection to the divine feminine and seeing her as weak.
Right, because you feel like she is not strong on her own, and therefore you have to protect her.
Yeah.
Right? So I grew up with that.
Yeah.
And
that's intense.
Yeah.
That's a lot though. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, men and women, we grow up with like these cultural expectations and
and the double standard too about
Yeah.
of what a woman's role is, and again, like, because we live in such a patriarchy that you have to be hard, you have to be tough, you have to, it's always go, 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 work hard till you can't no more, you know, and it was that mentality that I grew up with. And
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and like to just like have to learn to re-embrace my feminine and see the strength in that was like...
That's almost like a complete disregard for the like, on one hand, there's the culture saying, okay, you're a woman, so you need to serve a man.
Right.
But you're also not even allowed to be a woman.
Right.
Like, you're not allowed to be soft.
But then you want to be, but then you have these expectations from men that you should be soft and, you know, like
you need to be soft
and nurturing and it's like, it's hard. Like, of course, right? Everyone has both energies, but to have to teeter-totter so much between those two, especially when my dominant energy is feminine.
Which you've changed.
Which I've changed because in my childhood, so this is going into my childhood, because I didn't feel comfortable and strong enough in my feminine, I had to...
You became masculine.
I became very masculine. I became such a tomboy to protect like my purity, my innocence. Like, I had to become hard. I had to become like no feelings. Like, don't show feelings. Don't cry in front of people. Like, there was so much suppression. You know, that I dealt with and that like I kept throughout like my entire childhood because of how I was raised.
It's so funny. So the day I met Evelyn. The first thing I said to her is, wow, you have a lot of masculine energy.
Yeah. And here I thought, I'm like, yeah, it's just, that's my dominant energy.
I'm just a strong, divine feminine.
Yeah. Not even. Like, I always just related myself to having just more dominant masculine energy. And I thought that was my...
that was your dominant energy.
That was my dominant energy.
But you really just forgot the feminine.
I forgot the feminine because I had hid it since I was such a little girl.
Yeah.
That I thought that, oh, maybe like this is just me. I grew into being a tomboy. This is what my normal is. You know, and I totally forgot that I am a divine feminine.
Yeah. It's funny because I had a similar, different culture, different upbringing, but a similar experience in terms of the masculine shield, right? So I was very feminine as a little girl, but growing up with an abusive father and a mother who, one, allowed that abuse, but two, is just super codependent on him, on the masculine, right? So witnessing that and like seeing like, she was smart. She had a degree in nursing. She could have left at any time, but she had it in her mind that she had to depend on this man. I think it was just an old school way of thinking too. Like, she just didn't believe in divorce. She didn't believe in any of that. So you just kind of put up with it, right? For the sake of the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And witnessing that, I realized like either... I think as a child, seeing the masculine as that and the feminine as that, I'm like, okay, I do not want to be that type of feminine that just takes the abuse. So I started to put up that wall. I think it also got a little more exaggerated when I went, so people who haven't read my story or know of my story, like I was taken away by Children's Aid. So I was put in a foster home at around the age of... I was 8 years old was the first time, and then again when I was 10, and that was permanent. So just having that, like, both the mother and father kind of ripped away and having to figure out who you are alone in this world, right? I think that is when that masculine shield really came up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because at that point you can't be this sweet little girl.
No. You have to, like, the way you protect yourself is by being hard, because, and also too, like, people teach you as a kid that, you know, life isn't fair, life is hard, you know, you have to protect yourself, you know, you can't be weak, you can't be like, you know, like if you're too nice, people are going to take advantage of you, and like you're raised with like this fear, like, oh my god, like you can't trust anyone.
But you start to see the feminine as weak.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't imagine a feminine, because the divine feminine in her purest state is so strong.
Right.
And she's just pure love, shines so much love that bad, negative things can't even come into her bubble.
Penetrate the bubble. Right? No. But see,
like, that's her gift.
Yeah. But see, I think that's where what we were raised as, like, when we were raised, what we were seeing or thinking was a woman or a divine woman was really the wounded woman. You know, like, we thought that's just the way it was. That's just the way it was. Right. That this was because, like, our mothers are the first women as our role models, right? Yeah. And of course, like, our parents have been through shit. Like, they're not perfect. They're doing the best that they can. Yeah. And we were using them as a role model and thinking that this was the epitome of what a woman was.
For sure. Right?
And coming now to unlearn that wasn't really a divine feminine.
No.
You know?
That's the wounded feminine. Accepting that bullshit? Hell no.
No. Not anymore.
Like, I love my mom.
Yeah. Like, and again, like, this isn't to bash our parents or anything like that.
They're doing the best they could.
Yeah.
Right? Based on what they knew, based on the expectations that were put on them as children. And they, like, literally, she was taught growing up, once you're married and you stick with it. It doesn't matter. Right? Yeah. So, I think she was doing the best based on what she knew. Right? But I think it's the recognition also of, like, no, like, that is not the divine. I think the divine feminine has been squashed a lot. Yeah. And I say, so this just came in my mind. Like, how would that manifest for a man with his mother, right? And I'm thinking, like, if a little boy was growing up seeing his mom abused, yelled at, her super codependent, just accepting that, right? Then he's more likely, if he's attracted to women, he's going to most likely be attracted to a woman who plays the victim, is codependent, right? Like, manipulative, right? Like, all these wounded feminine traits, he's going to be more attracted to that. So I think from a man's perspective, it's, like, also recognizing that you deserve a divine feminine. Right? Yeah. Like, a woman who's, like, pure love and is not codependent, like, doesn't cling on to you.
Right? Yeah. That has her own life, and who has her own strength within her, and knows where she's going and knows what she wants, and, you know. Yeah.
So I think what we're all wondering, and what I still wonder sometimes when I'm stuck in my head, is how do we heal this mother wound? Right? So whether you grew up with, like, a super strong mom who was just super, like, maybe more masculine.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think, like, for me, my mother is super, like, it's interesting because, again, like, how you were talking about your mother is, like, there's certain standards, right? Like, in the Hispanic culture, too, you're kind of, like, taught, you know, you get married once and you freaking deal with whatever comes.
You just deal with it.
Right? Yeah. Regardless of what happens, you know? And so, like, my mom was always raised us to be super independent. You know what I mean? Because my father was super very, like, there's a double standard between men and women, and I grew up with that, and so I was always battling that because I was not going to conform. I was not going to be less than a man just because that was the culture my father was raised in.
Hell no.
Nope, not happening. Not on my watch.
Yes, queen.
But in order for me to be able to almost, like, stand up to him and protect myself, I had to go into my masculine energy. Yeah. I had to be just as strong, just as loud, just as everything that he had. I had to mirror that in order for there to be, like, I can't explain it, but, like,
this reminds me of, like, so if you work for Rogers or something like that, they tell the people who are, like, on the phones that if someone yells at you, you yell at them back. Yeah. Like, you have to match
their energy, right? In order for you to get your point across. Right. Because if you are, like, the delicate, feminine energy, they're not going to listen. No one's going to listen to that, right?
They do, but we didn't know how to wield our power.
Right. Because, like, for me, it was easier to get into that, abrasive and in-your-face type of energy because to keep your cool with someone like that.
Right, but your mom was also probably very tough too.
Yeah, she was.
She grew up with a family of tough women.
Yeah.
Right, so this idea of the feminine coming in with, like, think of like Snow White, right? Like that feminine coming in with just like love and like healing and talking to animals, and like she just helps people wake up. But when you're a little kid, you've never seen that before.
Yeah. But you know, it's interesting though, because like now having understanding the feminine energy, understanding her strength, and understanding that it is okay to say no, it is okay to walk away. Yeah. That every instance does not need a reaction. Every confrontation does not need your reaction. It does not need an abrasive response. It is okay for you as a feminine to say, you know what, this right now, I'm not allowing this treatment. So when you are ready to talk to me, I think I'm here.
Yeah, and there's also a key point here is their response. Someone's reaction is about them, not you.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't have to respond. Like, you ever notice when someone's really upset, it doesn't really matter what you say? Like, whether you agree with them or you fight them, like, they're just looking for a fight. They're just looking to, like,
instigate something. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And throw their crap on you. Their stuff onto you.
Yeah. So I think it's like noticing, like, you don't have to react. You can say, okay, I don't like this, bye, and walk away. You don't even have to say anything. I've literally been in fights with people and just turned around and walked away. Right. Right? And like, I come back in like a loving state and we talk about it. Yeah. But I think, you don't have to react. Right. So how do we heal? How do we heal that connection to the divine feminine, which is a big one? Yeah. Right?
Well, like for me, like the biggest thing is understanding what the feminine energy is.
What is divine feminine?
Right? And rewriting what you thought it was and what it actually is, and knowing the difference. You know, like it's not the manipulation. It's not acting like a martyr. It's not always being emotional and crying and that sort of thing. Like I'm not saying like, okay, you have every right to feel what you're feeling, but
it's
not
putting the emotion with someone else.
Yeah, it's like not acting based on emotion. Yeah. It's acting like release. If you are upset, release. If you need to cry, cry. You should be feeling your emotion. There is strength in feeling your emotion. You are human. Yeah. But not reacting in those emotions, in anger, in frustration, in hate. Like
expressing for the sake of expressing, not to put the blame on someone.
Right. Absolutely.
Like that's the difference between a divine feminine and a wounded feminine, I think. Right? So, I mean, for me, like, healing that wound, it really started with recognizing what is love. Because the feminine, at its core, is love. Like, yes, she's also flowing and nurturing and all that's good stuff. But it's that love and recognizing that. And within, starting to question every single reaction you have is it coming from love or fear? Right? If it's coming from fear, that's either wounded masculine or wounded feminine. Right. If it's coming from love, then it's coming from the sacred feminine, right? The healed feminine. So recognizing that first, I think, and then you have to do the deep healing, right? So
I guess it's just also too like rewriting your story and figuring out.
Oh my god, that's a big one actually. Yeah.
You know, like
literally go and write it down. Like take your story and write it in a different perspective. Yeah. Of like like thank you for this stuff, so I learned this. Right?
Or like even just writing like things that you experienced with your mother, or things that you saw your mother experience, and understanding where their response could have come from. You know, and knowing that
understanding is
that's like the main thing, is understanding people's actions and being compassionate that they were doing the best that they can.
We all are. Yeah. Nobody wants to be an asshole.
No. Right? And it's true. It's hurt people. Yeah. You know, and that's like a big one.
Facts.
Like, those are facts. Those are facts. Legit facts.
I think another thing that really helped was like doing the it's like Okopono, like forgiveness.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I would make a list of like all the places I was wronged. Both feminine, like my mom and dad, but like anytime I saw my mother doing something that either gave me a false sense of what a woman is, or any type of woman, a friend, like my foster mom, like just making a list of any time a woman has hurt you or given you a false sense of what love is, going through. And I literally would just say, I forgive you, I'm sorry, and I love you. So you're saying
thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah. So I forgive you is like giving them forgiveness, but the I'm sorry part is I'm sorry that you had to teach me that lesson. because I truly believe that we come to this earth choosing our lessons, and everyone else in our life, one, is a reflection of us.
Yes.
But two, they are there to help teach you a lesson. They're teachers. Right? Yeah. So thank you for being the bad guy.
For the hard lessons.
Yeah. Thank you for being the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because now I'm...
Sure, it took us a long time and a hard road to get here.
It's true, though. But like all this healing, like...
Yeah.
Like, what are you feeling now that you've done... I think it's always going to be a journey. You're never going to be completely healed.
Yeah.
But what do you feel now that, like, you've done the majority of it?
I feel lighter. I feel lighter. There's less resentment.
Yeah.
There's so much more love. Unconditional love, too.
Yeah, for
that,
everyone.
like, you really understand people, and everyone is on their own journey, and everyone is figuring it out. Like, don't get me wrong, I do still get upset sometimes, and people can still, like, push my buttons and that sort of thing, right? Like, I don't think you'll ever be without a trigger.
Always triggers.
Right?
But you're gonna start recognizing the triggers as within you.
Yes.
Not them.
Yeah. So then you understand now if it does trigger you, it's like you bring it back to self. Like you're not quick to just blame the other person. Yeah. Though I do sometimes at the beginning.
So easy though.
It's easy, right?
Like F you for messing with my peace.
You wronged me. How dare you?
But I think we have to get that rage out too, right?
Yeah.
Like getting that rage out. Obviously, I wouldn't say it to the person because then that's not fair. That's abuse almost, right? But getting that rage out and feeling it is okay too.
Yes.
But then recognizing that the trigger is within you.
Absolutely. And
right?
that the lesson is that things happen for you, not to you. Right?
Like, yeah, it's like if I was to come to you, just to give you an example here. Let's say your partner comes to you and makes a remark. I don't know. Let's say your dad used to call you short. I don't know. Whatever it is. And then your partner comes to you and calls you short.
Right.
That's going to create a trigger. Right? So in your head, you might be like, oh, well, this person triggered me. He's trying to be an asshole or she's trying to be an asshole. But in the reality is that's like a storyline from your past. Whereas if your partner was to come to you and be like, wow, you're kind of tall, or you grew, or I don't know, you're super blonde. Like, let's say it's something that isn't a trigger from your childhood. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, I am blonde, or oh, yeah, I am tall, or yeah, I do love apples. Yeah. Like, whatever it is they're saying to you, you're not going to be triggered if it's not still some trauma stored in your body.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, right? Any trauma, like there's trauma if there's a trigger. Like that's how you know that there's still trauma. There's still something that needs to be addressed if you're getting triggered. Yeah. And it could be like the smallest thing, like Sarah said, like saying something like, "Oh wow, you're short." Yeah. And then going off on the person, right?
Like that's your trigger, bitch.
Right. Handle your shit.
You're welcome for the trigger. Yeah. I used to say that.
She used to say that all the time.
She hated me for it. Anytime someone would get upset, I'd be like, well, you're welcome for the trigger. Yeah.
But then if you triggered her, it was like, you're a bitch.
It's like, what? We're not friends anymore?
Yeah. I'll talk to you when I'm ready.
That's funny. Funny, we laugh.
Now we can laugh, right?
But yeah, I think you're right. Like once you start to heal the majority of it, it's literally like you're taking weights out of you, right? And I think that's the process to becoming one with, like, oneness, one with God, one with all beings again, is literally taking the traumas out of the vessel. Because I see your body as like a vessel that can either be filled with God, which is to me pure love energy. So you can be filled with love, or you can be filled with traumas stuck to your core inside of you, right? Right. So I think also, like, when I hear people talk about like, oh, like, I've lost my connection to God, or I don't really feel love, or I don't know how to fill my own cup with love, right? Like, I think at that, I would say it's because your vessel, your cup is full of crap that needs to be taken out. Yeah.
You know what I'm finding really interesting is, like, even like our friends on this whole spiritual journey, how this whole thing is connecting back to source, connecting back to God, connecting, like, it's know,
just embodying God.
Yeah, but like, which is really interesting though, because like for me, like I was raised Catholic, like it was always it wasn't like a choice to be religious. It was kind of like indoctrinated, like, you know, you believe in God, you believe in Jesus,
or you're going to hell.
Yeah, and that sort of thing, right? And it's funny because like throughout my whole journey, I feel like I've always been pulled back to my relationship with God, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And because it is the ultimate form of love, of
it's
unconditional
pure love, though, right? And I think that's where because religion is a good. I mean, I think you can find God anywhere. Like, I don't want to bash religion, because if you can find God in religion, like, that's where you should be.
Yeah.
But I feel like religion, the only place I feel like they go wrong is when they say, like, there's only one true God, or you have to be a certain way to be connected to God. Like, to me, the journey is about embodying. Like, and I say God, but you can put, like, source, you know, whatever you want to call him or her, God, goddess. Like, I think it's just about embodying that complete unconditional love, right? Like, every single ascended master, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, like, all of them, the reason they're ascended masters is because they learned how to embody divine love. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I do feel that we're all capable of that level. I just think it takes time to, and I'm not saying I'm there, but I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, I think we're capable of it if we continue this journey of healing and connecting to divine feminine. I think religion too has that kind of, they say love, but they don't connect it to feminine, and feminine is love. Yeah. Right? So, and when I say divine feminine, mother wound, like, to me that's love. Yep. To come back to love. Yeah, absolutely. Love for all, love for self.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a big lesson.
Oh my gosh, and it's a lifelong lesson too. Yeah. Never stops.
No. And see, that's another thing that we have to accept, that we're never going to be completely healed, you know, and
because there's always, like, it's like a stream of water. There's always dirt falling into it.
Right. And, like, I also see it as, like, a spiral, right? Like, there's going to be things that you're going to come across and they're just going to show
the same lesson,
but it goes deeper within the wound. Every time it comes up again, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper until, like, you completely, like maybe not even clear it, but then you get to the point
it's just
where
a scar. It's not a wound anymore.
Right. And and you're able to, if it does come up, you're able to automatically, I know where that is, I know where that wound's from, and I know what I need to do to fix it and heal it, or, like, address it. Yeah. You know?
It's like if you think of like a shot, like, let's say you're shot. Not that any of us are, most likely, but let's say like a bullet wound. Yeah. Right? If you leave it in there, it's always going to be painful. And you push on it, it's going to hurt. Right. But if you dig in and take it out and, like, take out the toxins, then you can touch it. It turns into a scar. It doesn't hurt anymore. Right. Right? Like, these triggers will not hurt anymore if you heal it and dig out the toxins. Yeah.
Okay, so for the people, let's recap. How to heal the mother wound. Yeah. So.
Identify your story.
And
rewrite it.
Right. But also, so identify your story, just to expand on that, identify where how your mother wounds are showing up in your daily life. Yep. Right? So are you attached, or do you feel unworthy of love? Like, figure out what your story is.
And how it's still manifesting.
In your
reality. Yes. How are you living out those mommy wounds? Those relationships you had with your mom in your current relationships and your current life. Yes. Right? Are you the victim, or are you dating a victim? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or a super masculine, like, take charge, mothering type. Yeah. Right? Either one of those. You're either embodying it or you're dating it. It could be reflected either way.
And then also to knowing what a divine feminine is. Yeah.
Go do some research.
Do some research on what a divine feminine is and what those characteristics are.
At the end of the day, it's love for self and all others.
Right. And also free-flowing and being able to receive.
Letting go.
Yeah, being able to receive, speaking your truth, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. And knowing that what a divine feminine is, and just comparing it to what you thought being a feminine was. And knowing what the difference is.
Seeing that. Yeah. Right? And I think it's, like, the resonance, too. Because if you're living from your heart space. Yeah. If you're living from your heart space of that love, then when something comes in, that's toxic or doesn't align with that, your first reaction is gonna be like, ugh, like, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it takes time to get there.
Yeah. But you'll get there, and again, like,
just keep digging.
Yeah, and just be patient with yourself. That's one thing. Like, this whole journey, enjoy the journey, because you will see, like, when you look back, you'll be like, wow. Like, we were just talking about this today. Like, oh my God, like a year ago, you know, if I was put in the same situation, like, I would not be handling it.
No.
With such grace that I'm handling it now, you know, like, it's
things that are coming up now, like, I'd be like, oh, like, I'd be chasing love.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd be living in this fear mindset, in this lack mindset as well, you know, like, feeling that I'm not going to be taken care of, feeling like I can't trust, and that sort of thing, and just seeing how far I've come.
Or that person's going to leave me if I say no.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, bye.
If they leave, they leave.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be back. We all know that, first of all.
And if they're not, that's fine too.
They always come back, first of all, okay? They might not be right for you, but they always come back.
That's okay.
Hashtag facts.
It's okay if they don't come back.
So, to recap. Oh, and then forgiveness. The Okapono.
Yes.
Right?
Forgiveness.
Okaponono, whatever it's called.
Yes.
Forgiveness is a huge one. Because you need to forgive before you can detach and let go. Right?
Yeah.
And then embodying God.
Yes.
Goddess. Love.
And learning to let go.
Let go. Receive.
Yes. Receive.
We were just talking about this. Our whole spiritual journey has come down to detach, surrender deeper to God, Goddess, and receive.
Yeah.
Like those, it just comes out of those three simple things.
Yeah. As a feminine.
But even the masculine, right? I think the masculine. Like,
but I mean, like, everybody embodies both masculine and feminine.
We're all both.
Yeah.
But I think men too need to, like, they need to learn. Yes, they give. The masculine predominantly gives, is the giver, but you need to be able to fill your own cup and receive first.
But see, it's interesting that,
from God.
You know, like, you say receive, and it's like, oh yeah, I can receive. It's easy.
Can you receive true love, though?
Yes, that's the thing. It's like it takes a different kind of vulnerability to receive love, because it's one thing. It's easy to give. It's easy to give because there's like no attachment to that.
Yeah.
But then to be able to receive and trust the love, trust that you deserve that love, that takes a different kind of vulnerability.
And to receive is to give.
Yes.
Like it's one and the same.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when you're receiving from someone, like it makes the other person feel good too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's all about filling your own cup, which at the end of the day, I think it comes down to like God, Goddess, Source, your connection with him or her first, and embodying that, right? And not to push like religion or God on anyone. I just feel like the more I heal, the more it really comes back to that.
Yeah.
Because I've been both ways. I've been super religious, raised super Christian, and I've also been like, religion's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And now it came back to like, love.
Yeah.
So, with
on that note,
so thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about us, or you want to join our waiting list, our mailing list, where you get lots of great tips, and you join the waiting list for our members area as well, which will open end of the year, beginning of 2021 maybe, because let's get rid of 2020.
Yeah.
If you want to join that list, please find the link probably below. Might be up here too.
Or there. We're just going to cover our bases.
It's all one. It's all the same, but we love you. Thank you so much. And
we'll
let
see you.
love be your intention always. Bye.